Rowe from Sierra Bright Dot Fly Fishing Guide Service. I've been guiding, teaching, writing, and lecturing on Eastern Sierra fly fishing since 1982. Well, let's get to this week's fly fishing report. Let's start with the Upper Owens. Snow's gone, access is by vehicle. We can drive anywhere on the roads up there. Might be a couple little wet spots, but for the most part, nothing to worry about anymore. Well, we're into April, and for the most part, the big trophy fish are gone. There's still a few fish left in the river here and there. Saw a photo of one today that's sitting in there, but for the most part, it's at the tail end of the run. So fish bigger flies, fish the deep holes, the deep pools, the deep runs, cut banks, and you're going to find the fish. Well, let's go over to Hot Creek. Hot Creek's getting interesting. We can drive into the canyon section as well as drive into the interpretive site. Midges in the morning, blueing olives midday. Fishing's great there, really fun. Interpretive site's more dry fly fishing. Canyon section is more nymph fishing. In the canyon section, I'm fishing a dry and a dropper, and I'm fishing with pheasant tail nymphs, particularly beadhead flashbacks, and I'm also using the olive quilligan, and then I'm using midges, both the nymphs and the pupa patterns in zebra and tiger configuration. Middle of the day is when the best fishing is on Hot Creek. By 1 or 2 o'clock, it's usually pretty much over. Well, let's head down the hill and let's go fish on the lower Owens River. Well, the water's turned dirty in the last few days, and I think it'll be like that for the rest of the spring and summer season. But the fish are still feeding, same scenario, midges in the morning, bluing olive nymphs middle of the morning up till about noon, and then the hatch comes off, and if you're in the right spot, you're going to catch lots of fish. If you're not seeing every fish in the pool selectively feeding, then move and find a spot where they are feeding. For the dries, I'm using bluing olive parachutes, and we're using sparkle duns in size 18. If you're in the lower third of the wild trout water in the afternoons, you're going to find caddis activity, and you want to use a size 18 elk hair or X-caddis in that section. Well, my favorite water's been fishing tough, and that's Bishop Creek Canal. Well, they bump the water up just enough that it's up and it's a little off color, means we can get out there and not spook the fish. I fished it yesterday with a gentleman I met out on the river that had heard my fish report, and when I set him up with the right rigging, which is a pheasant tail on the bottom, a midge right above it, 20 inches, a size 1 split shot in the middle, the indicator 4 or 5 feet up, this guy started catching fish. He ended up with 6 or 7 wild brown trout out of that section. No hatch yesterday, but when the hatch does come off, we're using bluing olive parachutes and sparkle duns in size 18. And that's this week's fly fishing report, brought to you by Sierra Bright Dot, and I can be found on my webpage at sierrabrightdot.com.